maybe the coldest game ever. I mean, damn. Hopefully not. I hope for a good game in general. But man, I'm so excited. I know Mark is too. And how are the Rams gonna win out there in the Windy City? Me and Mark, we'll talk about that next on this Keys to Victory episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. And guys, if you're on YouTube, you enjoy our content, subscribe to the channel, like the video, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any other future video throughout the rest of this year and hopeful Super Bowl run. And if you're on the audio only, guys, share it all. Share the audio, share the YouTube links. It helps other Rams fans see our content. And me and Mark, we're very much appreciative of that, guys. Thank you. But, I mean, it's on, man. We survived and advanced from last week of the stress of the Carolina Panthers. I mean, what a great kickoff game that was for the playoff tournament. I grew a lot of gray. Mark, maybe a little bit more gray, but we survived. And now it's Rams versus Bears in the divisional round of this 2026 playoffs, Mark. I'm excited, man. I'm going to be nervous as hell, like always, right? This is the fan in me. But to be in this position, I'm thankful and I'm excited,
Yeah, I mean, this is where we want it to be. We prefer to be at home, but hey, in the divisional round against the Bears, and I'm probably going to take a lot of heat for this, but if you look across these four games, the Rams might have drawn the weakest team in the field. Although a lot of respect for the Bears, but I mean, 8 teams left. If you were to list these teams in your power rankings right now. It's a good draw for the Rams. It's not a good place to play, and we'll talk about the W word as we go through here. But yeah, this is what it's all about, and I like the Rams' chances. The Bears, like I say, much respect for what they've got done this year, especially their comeback wins and all that. But I'm all in on the Rams for this one.
Of course. What was the other answer, right, everyone? But any Bears fans tuning in, we'll keep it objective here. We always will be that way, and we'll continue to do that in this episode as well. We will take off the royal and soul color glasses and keep it real. Of course, we want our Rams to win, and we'll lean towards that direction just naturally. Look at the hats, duh. But we'll keep it real about the issue with the Rams, issue with the Bears, and how each team can find success. And we'll do that in this Keys to Victory episode. But before we get into all that, Mark,
I just want to interject something real quick. And my special assistant pointed this out to me. For you Bear fans, if you guys do survive and beat the Rams, the entire Ramily will be behind you guys the following week. Just know that.
Yeah. So, winner of Seahawks Niners is still going to be an NFC West rival of ours, and we don't want to see them win another bowl. So if that timeline gets created, we'll adjust accordingly, but we're going with the assumption that hopefully Rams pull this out, right, Mark? But to the history between these two teams, everyone, it's a rich history, Mark, a very rich history. And I didn't know the exact head-to-head record. I know we played each other last season, and we'll get to that matchup shortly. But I was trying to think off the top of my head without looking it up. Do you want to throw a quick guess for fun what that record is? Rams have the advantage or Bears have the advantage all time? Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. You want me to get? Well, I know the Bears have us by a significant margin. Maybe, I think we're like 10 games underwater, maybe.
Yeah. Well, let's pull that up now, everyone. If you're on YouTube, you can follow along. The Rams have a 38-54 and 3 tie record in the regular season against the Bears. So the Bears, I do have a nice advantage, but they are 1-1 in the playoffs against each other. Oh, here's another quiz, Mark. Do you remember the very first time they played each other in the playoffs, Mark? Do you remember what year that was?
I don't remember the year. I know it was, I know Torrey Holt was still a Ram. So I'm guessing it was
sooner than that.
Oh, it was before that. Oh, was it? Oh, was it? Well, he was a Torrey Holt was a rookie in
Pre
1999.
1980s. I'll just give that little hint.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Playoff, yeah.
Yeah, I'm at a loss. Is it back in the 60s when the Roman Gabriel days?
Even sooner than that, everyone.
Oh,
Divisional round at 1950 on
oh
December
wow.
17th. That is the very first time, excuse me, that the Rams and Bears face each other in the playoff tournament. That was when obviously there were not that many teams in the league. But hey, shout out to Bob Waterfield throwing 3 touchdown passes in that game, beating the Bears. And unfortunately, they went on to lose in the NFL championship against the Cleveland Browns, and then eventually Rams won it the next year in LA, which was nice in 1951. But that's the very first time, everyone, back in 1950, the second round, divisional round of the playoffs. That's pretty crazy. If you're on YouTube and you look at the
Um,
levels of these teams, the Bears was a literal bear on top of a football, and then the Rams had that early version of the Rams head skeleton horn, which is kind of cool. It'd be fun to see that on some throwback gear every once in a while. I'd buy that. But I mean, Mark,
uh,
it's crazy. 1950,
yeah, I'm disappointed in myself. I didn't know that because that's the stuff I usually know. But
man.
and I've been doing a lot of research on great Ram teams for that show we're going to do after the season's over, and I'll talk about those 1950 Rams. But I did
Yeah.
that, man. I did not realize that they beat the Bears in the playoffs that year.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, I mean, it was just crazy, crazy, crazy Bob Waterfield clutch game. I mean, that's basically what it was, and he's a Hall of Famer. So go ahead and YouTube that, everyone, if there's some black and white color of that game. And then, all right, Mark, do you know the next time they played each other in the playoffs? This is a
Yeah,
famous
I
one.
know that game very well. That was
Yeah.
the Dieter Brock game at Soldier Field. It was extremely cold, and that was I don't know if you caught my reference. We were texting the other day the Duck to Passworth game.
Ugh.
Bobby Duckworth went out for a pass. The wind was howling, and Dieter Brock threw him a pass. And John Madden, as you know, he was great at little quips. And I don't know if he had that one ready for the game, but he said that wasn't a pass to Duckworth. That was a duck to Passworth. And, and I think they had a punt. Was that the game they had a punt that went got blew it the ball the wind blew it back into the end zone? Something crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was an ugly game. That was a great Bear team. I don't think I think we went into that game realizing we didn't have much of a shot at beating Jim McMahon and William the Refrigerator Perry, all those guys.
yeah, prime Walter Payton. This is the 85 Bears that the Rams lost to in the NFC Championship, everyone, back in January of 1986. Of course, it was the 1985 season. And the Rams had no passing game that was respectable. It was all Dickerson running like a madman. And it got us to that point. But an all-time great team, an all-time great defense, maybe the number one defense in history, depending on who you talk to, just shut us out as the Bears beat us 24-0 out there in Chicago. And that's crazy. That's the last time they played each other in the playoffs, Mark. Pretty
That's
insane.
great. You think they would have met a handful more times than that? That is very surprising.
Yep. So division around 1950 and then 1985/1986 NFC Championship as the Bears went on to, absolutely obliterate the Patriots. And crazy, in another timeline, Rams probably, if they were able to find a way to beat Chicago, they probably go on to, beat the Patriots in another Rams Patriots Super Bowl, which is kind of crazy, right, to think about. But
Yeah, that was the Tony Eason Patriots set where the I think the Bears trounced them pretty easily too.
yeah, they obliterated them, and then you got the refrigerator touchdown, and Walter Payton was mad about it, or secretly mad. Anyway, R.I.P. Walter Payton, great dude, great player, and the award is named after him for a great community service. Shout out to Kyron, hope he wins it this year. But I mean, the playoff times, Mark, and do you know what year, Mark, the last time the Rams won a game in Chicago? Can you name me that?
No, I cannot. I
Well,
cannot.
everyone, Rams' last win versus Bears in Chicago was 2003. Do you know who was on that team in 2003 on offense, Mark? I'm sure you do.
Well, that was the tail end of the greatest show, so
Yeah.
it was post Warner, Bolger, Holt, all those guys. Um,
Correct. I mean, let's pull
yeah.
up the stat sheet from that game. Rams won 23-21. Bolger threw for 2 touchdowns. Started the game off rough with 2 INTs. Torrey Holt had a touchdown, 124 receiving yards. Marshall went off with 20 carries, 103. Had a big run in that game in the comeback. Chandler was the quarterback through 2 INTs. Thomas was the main rusher. And hey, to think about, I was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old then, Mark. That's the last time the Bears won a game out. I mean, excuse me, the Bears lost to the Rams out there in Chicago. I mean, that's incredible. Incredible. And they played each other a lot throughout the years. Maybe not all the time in Chicago, but that's insane that that's been the case. And Mark, if you remember, let's pull up the last 5 times they played each other, everyone. We referenced this when we played each other back last season in 2024. We said, okay, the Rams losing that cold game when Jared Goff didn't play well back in 2018 when Vic Fangio was their defensive coordinator and they really stifled our offense. We said, okay, that's not going to happen again. And the Rams went on to win the next 3 as they were all in LA. 2019 against the Bears, 2020 against the Bears, the famous first game for Matthew Stafford as a Ram, where I was at. That was a great game where they obliterated them. Stafford was like 20 for 26, 3 touchdowns, 300 and something yards. But I remember saying the juju of playing in, the magical Chicago Bears juju of going to Soldier Field, for whatever reason, the Rams can't get it done. And I remember a lot of Rams fans were pissy with me picking the Rams to lose that game back early, last year against them. I remember Paul and you were like, you can't pick the Bears. And I was like, this is some weird energy. The Rams can't get it done. And they lost, as that's the last time they played each other. Was Caleb Williams one of his first games as a rookie last year, everyone? I mean, look at Rams ended up being 1-3. Matthew didn't throw a touchdown, got INT'd late in that game. Kyron ran well, but had a touchdown. Whittington and Tutu were the main guys. As you remember, Puka and Cooper Kupp didn't play that game as they were both dealing with injuries. We were out with them for a while. Caleb had his 1 touchdown where DJ Moore was one-on-one with Roseboom. I was like, what are we doing here? DeAndre Swift had a big touchdown. Remember, Cam Kitchens played horrible. The linebackers played horrible in that play. Jared Verse had a bad game. And then DeAndre Swift in the receiving game, I mean, he just absolutely just killed us. That was the last time we played. Now, of course, if Puka and Cooper played that game, we beat them. Let's just be objectively honest about it. But for whatever reason, even though we were more talented than them then, even though the weather wasn't a factor then, we still found a way to lose, Mark. And there's just something about Rams teams not getting it done in Chicago, just like the last time last season.
Yeah, I think this team hopefully has a different mindset. Stafford with all his guys, everybody healthy. I don't know what the cause effect here is. I really don't know, but I think some of the games have had to do with weather. Some of the games have had to do with a weak Ram teams going up against really good Bear teams. I have to do a real high level scrutiny of the history to determine that. But it doesn't change the fact that I think this team, this Ram team, with their mindset and their culture, is well suited to go into Chicago and get a win.
Yeah, and in the McVay era, everyone 0-2, of course, being the 2018 cold game matchup against Fangio's defense, and then last season with Caleb Williams in his first couple starts as a professional. And it'll be interesting to see how they overcome that psychologically. Again, a lot of Bears fans, Rams fans, kind of back and forth on X, Twitter, Instagram, all of it, Facebook, you know, throwing stats at each other for weather and why Rams haven't won since 2003 and a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, Rams got to overcome it and get their act together and break this, this decade-long curse, it feels like, plus or more than a decade, excuse me. But hey, stats are there for you. We're not trying to be hater on the
Yeah,
Rams or any of that. We're just giving you the info and digest it how you want, right, Mark?
yeah. And one thing to consider here is, as I was thinking about this today, one of the reasons the Rams have maybe struggled there is they've had more or less, during the McVay era, during the Greatest Show on Turf era, even back in the '60s, they had productive offenses. And the Bears were typically tough defenses, running game, well
Yeah.
suited for well suited for weather. Now you look at this current Bears team, and they're more like a California style offense, right? Ben Johnson with a bunch of really good receivers and a mobile quarterback, and they put points on the board. So, in that respect, maybe that dilutes the advantage that you might typically give the Bears in a game like this. A high flying offense coming out to Chicago to face a high flying offense.
I mean, it's fair. You got a USC quarterback. I know Caleb grew up, I think, in Washington, D.C. He
Yeah,
didn't
right.
grow up in Southern California, but, played a lot of games at USC, won a Heisman. You remember once upon a time, Mark, it was tank for Caleb during the 2023
Right,
season when we
right.
where we started out not well, right? And things were going wrong. A lot of the games were being lost close, and it was frustrating. And it was like, do we just take an L the rest of the season, look for the future? Isn't everyone glad that ended up not being the case? But crazy. And he's a fantastic player, and he's a reason why they've won a lot of games. And let's pull up how they've done this season in general, everyone. Let's get into the Bears' schedule, what they've accomplished. So they lose their first two games, right? Remember week one on Monday night, everyone? JJ McCarthy was out playing Caleb Williams, and it was JJ winning NFC Player of the Week. I mean, we're a long, long way I should say, away from that. Then they lose against Detroit. They get absolutely obliterated. And then they've been winning tons since. Beat Dallas convincingly, have a narrow game against the Vegas Raiders. They have an early bye, have a narrow victory against Washington, have a victory against New Orleans, lose convincingly against the Ravens, have a narrow victory against Cincinnati, Giants, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Philly. They have their loss against Green Bay, Cleveland, have an overtime win recently against Green Bay. Then they finish out the regular season, losing that shootout against the Niners when we were hoping for the Bears to win that game. They didn't. Then they lose crappy against the Lions. And then we get to the wild card playoff game, Mark. They're down 21-3 at halftime. I remember watching that game after ours being like, oh, hey, Packers win, Niners win, we get a home playoff game. And I'm thinking that's, one of those scenarios is being set up very nicely based on how that game was going. And then the magic happens again, Mark. Just like it did gazillion times for the regular season. Caleb Williams, this offense just gets their heads out of their ass, and they go on to score 28 points in the second half, winning that thing 31-27. Jordan Love couldn't get the Hail Mary accurately in time. I thought they were going to have a chance to maybe steal it. But look at Caleb pass for, 2 touchdowns, had the 2 INTs, threw for almost 50 times. Insane. 361 yards. Incredible. DeAndre Swift only got the ball 13 carries, but he had a rushing touchdown, 54 rushing yards. Colston Loveland saving the day, 2-point conversion, had 137 receiving yards. Booker, the DN, had a sack, and then Brisker and a bunch of the secondary guys had 8+ tackles. Brisker had 9. And the Chicago Bears, Mark, have the most comeback victories regular season. Now you add in the wild card playoff game. This team is never out of it. No matter how crappy the offense looks to begin with, no matter how bad the defense may be getting shredded through the air or just having a bad day, they stay alive. And it is insane that they keep pulling this off, man.
Yeah, much respect for that. And you're right. I was kind of half watching that game, the Bears Packers, and caught out of the corner of my eye that one interception he threw, and I was like, oh my God, this is god awful.
Yeah,
What is he doing? And then I think we were actually might have been recording during that game,
we
and
were during the
I
first half.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
I made a comment, oh man, this is not going well. And then yeah, the fourth quarter was crazy. And I think, I was watching some content from some Packer folks, and they really put it on their coach there. taken the ball out of Jordan Love's hands and on early downs and such, and kind of just allowed the Bears to get back into it. But yeah, played a little conservatively on offense late in the game. But yeah, you got to, man, Colston Loveland is a guy that scares me in this game. We can talk about that later. But yeah, maybe we want to be trailing in the fourth quarter. Maybe that's the game plan.
I mean, my God, they're going to be a handful, everyone. I mean, that's a sign of respect, in my opinion. And let's get into it, Mark. Let's do a mixed match today. We'll talk about the Bears roster, the offense by itself, defense by itself, special teams, and their best players, obviously. But we'll hit it off. We'll get into the keys right after we're done talking about the offense. We'll get into the keys to victory, right? With the defense. We'll nail it all together, as it's a long conversation about these Bears and how good or not so good they are in certain situations. So we'll kind of crank it all out together. But in a macro perspective, right? Who are the Bears, top performers, right? Caleb Williams had the best passing performance in Bears history, basically. Isn't that crazy? They've never had a 4,000-yard passer. He was close. He had 3,942. That's still the best in Bears history. Crazy. Rushing yards, DeAndre Swift. Over 1,000 yards again. Fantastic player, right? I mean, they got signed on a solid deal when, they kicked him out in Philly in favor of Saquon. He's been a good player for them. Kyle Monungai, he's been a great number 2 running back. He's got 783 rushing yards. And then Caleb's their next guy with almost 400 himself on the ground, which is crazy. And then you look at the receiving yards, Mark, everyone. If you're on YouTube, you can look at this graphic with us, of course. Colston Loveland is the leading receiving man. Tight end, first round pick, 713. He got DJ Moore, 682, and then Roma Dunze, I forgot what pronunciation is right, 661. And of course, both the Dunze, I'm just gonna go with that, has been injured, missed a lot of games. DJ has had his banged up issues, and he gets covered as the priority, of course. But Mark, this damn guy, Colston Loveland, a first-round pick, someone that you and I were comfortable with the Rams trading up for. Let's call it what it is, from back when we were, covering the draft and players that we liked. He's been fantastic. Started out a little slow, right? Him and Cole Kmet, but he's the main guy now, which is crazy, and he's a baller. Just hold on to that thought. We'll get to it shortly. Kevin Byard, 61 solo tackles and Tremaine Edmonds, and then, Nation Wright, 54. Montez Sweat has 10 sacks. He was a trade acquisition from the Commanders who, gave up a couple seasons ago and were sending guys out everywhere. Javon Dexter was 6, Austin Booker, 4.5. And then Kevin Byard, man, 7 INTs, an all-pro again this season. He was a cast-off from Tennessee. Everyone thought he was done, and he revived his career here. Then he got Nation Wright with 5, and then Tremaine Edmonds, a linebacker, with 4. So, I mean, Marquez, a totality of these top performers, you could say, from the Bears. I mean, damn, they got guys that have really, really stepped up out of nowhere, a la Byard, a la Loveland.
Yeah, it's kind of, as far as the passing game, it's kind of what us Ram fans have been hoping for our team. Guys like Tutu Atwell and Conate Mumfield, Jordan Whittington, never really getting involved like we would expect. Whereas the Bears really spread the ball around. Not even mentioned here is Luther Burden. He's another,
we'll talk about him.
Guy, another guy to be concerned about. But yeah, Colston Loveland. And yeah, it seems like maybe it's just maybe just tight ends have left an impression on me for some reason. But it seems like we get hurt by tight ends disproportionately.
Yeah.
So Loveland, facing Loveland in this game is not something I'm thrilled about. And I wanted to mention right there, going off topic here a little bit, the cornerback. He's a guy I'd love to see. He's going to be a free agent, and we'll talk about it another day. He's a guy I think the Rams could make a run at to improve probably the biggest hole in our team, the cornerback group today.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep, we'll say that for another day. For now, he is the enemy holding us back from a Super Bowl. So, but there you go, everyone. That's the top offense, top defensive performers. Again, a macro look. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of each group. So we'll start with this Bears offense, everyone. Caleb Williams, of course, probably the best quarterbacking season in Bears history, other than, early Bears, 1940s, 50s, 30s, pre World War, Cold War days, I should say, excuse me. And he's insane, right? Tyson Bagent, a good backup player who, when he's filled in the past, he's done a nice job. He's a good backup player who, a lot of people were like, hey, should the Bears be starting him if Caleb's not ready? Well, things worked out. And then DeAndre Swift, he's been a Pro Bowl man. Of course, the leading rusher over 1,000 yards. Manungai over 700, like we talked about. And then the receiving core is filthy, Mark, including the tight ends. It's filthy. Roma Dunze, someone that the Rams fan base, including us, were comfortable with the Rams trying to go and grab, right? DJ Moore, who was acquired in the Panthers trade, way back. He's been fantastic for them. Luther Burden III, another player that you and I, Mark, were comfortable with the Rams trying to get in the first round. He ended up obviously going later than that. He's been an explosive guy for them. Of course, they got him. Then you got Colson Lovin, who we talked about, leading receiving man for the tight ends. Cole Kmet, a Pro Bowl level tight end, is their backup as of right now, but he obviously plays a ton. And then you got Devin Duvernay and Jade Walker rotating in as well. This receiving core, this skill player group, from quarterback down to the tight ends and even the backup rotating receivers, is filthy, everyone. It's an excellent group. And she's the wheeze, Mark. How about the O-line? You got Darnell Wright, who was named to the All-Pro team this season. Jonah Jackson, a cast-off from the Rams of last season, couldn't start on this team. Revitalized his career with the Rams. That you see, he's got the blue dot next to his name, and he's been a former Ram. And he's been a Pro Bowler before, played like a Pro Bowler this season. Drew Dahlman has been a Pro Bowler at center. Joe Tooney has been a multi-time Pro Bowler, multi-time All-Pro, and again, voted to the 2025 Pro Bowl and All-Pro team. So he's killing it again. Shocker. And then you got Braxton Jones, obviously filling in at left tackle, and we'll see if him or Theo will get the nod. I'll save that for you, Mark. But totality, man, this is an elite offense, Mark. Just looking at the names, looking at who's been Pro Bowlers, all pros. And again, if you're on YouTube, you see a red dot next to a player's name, they've been a Pro Bowler before. You see a green dot, they've been an all pro. You see a blue dot, they've been a Ram. So I'll zip it here, Mark, let you go with it. Damn, dude, this offense is crazy.
Yeah, well, I'll try to put a positive spin on it to try to make Ram fans feel a little bit better. And we're talking about, Bear fans and a lot of commentators talking about the weather being an issue. And you look at this group, it looks like a unit that will be just as impacted by the weather as the Rams. You got a lot of young guys, have probably never played in a cold weather game. If they have, maybe back in high school. And it's a team that relies on the passing game. And if the Rams are going to be impacted as far as the weather, I think this unit could just as well be affected. And I will say, Braxton Jones, and I'm just picking up what I've heard from Bears fans on social media. He was their original starter. Hopefully, I'm getting this right. Got injured, went on IR. They plugged in the other guy, the guy that he won't be able to go. His name escapes me. We'll talk about it on the.
Right now, sorry.
Yeah. So a lot of Bear fans are rooting for Theo to get the start over Braxton Jones. I don't think that's going to happen. But bottom line is, I was reading an interview with Ben Johnson, and I think reading the tea leaves, he's not really excited about his options at left tackle. So that would be one position, one weakness in this great Bears offense that the Rams might be able to expose. And left tackle's kind of important.
It is, and we'll see who gets the nod as, again, their fill-in starting left tackle who ended up being really good. He got severely injured in this last game against the Packers, and he's done for the rest of his playoff run.
Let me add one other thing, talking about the wide receivers and how they can get impacted, And
real quick, I forgot about Zacchaeus. I didn't mention him. He plays and has done well too. So everybody, go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, of all the receivers playing in this game, who has the most cold weather experience? Probably Devontae Adams. Of all these receivers, who's the last guy you want to tackle when it's 10 degrees outside? Probably Puka Nacua. So, don't lose faith, Ram fans. they both got to play on the same field.
That's exactly right. But I mean, look at objectively, everyone. This offense is elite. The players, the depth, it's crazy. And if you're here on YouTube, you can read along the stat sheet for them. We'll look at it from, how they finished in the regular season, of course. Points per game, they're ranked ninth, 25.9 per game. Total yards per game, they're ranked sixth, 369.2 per game. Rushing on the ground, they're ranked third, 144.2. And obviously, Caleb Williams has a lot to do with that as well, not just handing it to DeAndre and Manungai. Passing, they're ranked 10th, 225.1 per game. Red zone percentage, how many times are they scoring a touchdown when they're down there? They're ranked 12th best, 58.18% of the time they're getting in the end zone. And then these stats, I did not realize, Mark, but this is pretty shocking and pretty incredible. Sacks, they've given up the second least in the NFL. Rams are the least. So this is the next best team. Excuse me, that's a tongue twister. They've only given up 24 sacks. Incredible. Turnovers, they've only had 11 giveaways, which is the least in the NFL. So they're the best team at taking care of the football, INTs, fumbles, etc., which is incredible as well. So from the stat perspective, everyone, they're also elite. Shocker. And it's incredible that, again, sacks, turnovers, Caleb Williams has a lot to do with that. And we'll just jump right into it, everyone. This is the right time to do it. I mean, we got to get into the keys of how we're going to stop this Bears offense, or at least try to, Mark. So I'm going to start with you on this, dude. What are your keys to this defense, Rams defense, holding their own against this Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams style of offense? It's going to be tough, man.
Yeah, well, I think I'd start with the fact that both passing games are going to be challenged to some degree. It's not going to be the same offense as we're used to seeing, but the one advantage the Bears have is what you just mentioned, Caleb being able to run, and as we know, the Rams' pass rush is sometimes not disciplined. They do a lot of stunting. They get exposed by running quarterbacks. We saw it with Bryce Young, right? So I think obviously we got to play good defense against the run. We got to, make sure none of these receivers go off on us. But I think the biggest thing I'm concerned about in a game that's probably going to be characterized by hard-earned yards on the ground is Caleb's ability to extend plays and get yards, when things break down. And that's one thing the
Yeah.
Rams can't do, right? That's one thing the Rams can't go to in this type of game, and the Bears can. So we need to limit his ability to hurt us with his legs. I think that's number one.
Yeah, number one for sure. And then, I mean, Mark, I'm going to preface this stat before I get into the nitty gritty, and this will detail a lot of my thoughts. Per Scott Kazmar, and if I didn't say his name right, apologies. On Twitter X, he always puts out fun stats for NFL matchups, etc. Rams scoring defense in 2025, he says. The first 11 games, they were only giving up 16.3 points per game, which was number one, the best in NFL. And they were playing elite. There was no doubt about it. The last 7 games, including the playoff game against Carolina, they've given up an average of 28.3 points per game, which is ranked 27th in that time. Now, if you include the Carolina game, that average may be even worse because they gave up 31. So you catch my drift, everyone. The defense has regressed severely this second half of the season. So I mentioned that stat to back up my keys to victory on this, everyone. For the Rams defense to have success against this Bears offense, it is a serious mismatch. It just is. I do not have faith in the secondary right now. I don't. Looking back on the film from Carolina, Emmanuel Forbes had a solid day, kind of. I think Roger McCreary had a solid day when he was rotated in. And then look at Kobe Durant played awful. I think the linebackers and pass coverage weren't good either. The safeties had a lot of moments, Cam Curl and Cam Kitchens. This is a severe, severe mismatch right now based on all of the pass eligible guys in the Bears offense, based on Ben Johnson's excellent play designs and play calls. I mean, just go rewatch some of the highlights from this past game against the Packers for them. Incredible play designs. And then on top of it, everyone, our Rams pass rush does not do a good job with mobile quarterbacks. They haven't. This version of this fearsome foursome, my God, stop with that crap. They haven't performed anywhere near that group. Does not handle mobile quarterbacks well dating back to last season and including this season. So this is a severe mismatch. Passing game, mobile quarterback with Caleb, and then the complex plays in the run game as well. And at the end of the day, my keys to victory are this D line has to have the game of their life. This front seven has to have the game of their life, in my opinion, because if they are average or they play the same as they did this Carolina game, where yes, you can get pressure on the quarterback, but Caleb Williams will run away from pressure. That's not good enough. You can give up 4 or 5 yards on the ground, but that sets up everything else. That's not good enough. So, long story short, everyone, if this Rams front seven, including everyone who rotates in on the D line, is not playing their best football, we're not going to stop them. That's just my humble opinion. And I think that's fair to say. And how do you do that? They have to contain Caleb Williams in the pocket, Mark. They have to, because pressure up the gut does us no good if he can just run around and escape, which he's excellent at running for first downs or keeping the play alive and throwing laser beams down the field. We'll get killed. We don't got the secondary to hold up. We don't. So at the end of the day, they have to sell out to stop the run, and they have to contain Kelly Williams in the pocket, because if they let him escape, buy time, figure out a running lane, figure out a passing throw, the guy is spectacular, and we got no shot, Mark. So it's my long-winded answer of saying everything comes down to the front seven. Everything comes down to the D-line having the game of their lives. Stop the run and contain Caleb Williams in the pocket, or they're dropping serious points on us, Mark. And I think that's fair to say.
So that probably means like where are you getting at? Maybe less stunting, just a I don't want to say a slower pass rush, but a more disciplined pass rush. Maintain your gaps and just don't let him escape. He may have more time to throw, but he's not going to throw extending the play, running. He's not going to pick up first downs with his legs. At least he's probably going to do a little bit of that no matter what we do.
Sure.
But is that fair? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, look, they have to play more discipline, this D line. The stunting has not been working to the degree that we all probably hoped for. Didn't work a ton against Carolina. Let me tell you that, right? And I get it. It's very, I say, Ian, how negative of you. Just keeping it honest. I'm taking off the, royal and soul colored glasses off and being honest about it. If they perform like they've been performing the last 7-8 weeks, this Bears offense is going to annihilate this Rams defense. And that's just the facts. But if this Rams front, D-line, outside linebackers, inside linebackers play up to their capabilities, then we got a shot to contain them. But I guess that'll be the fun of watching it on Sunday night, Mark. But that's my keys. Everything's on the D-line. They have to stop the run. They have to stop Caleb Williams, and I'll end on that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this what approach a Ben Johnson offense is going to take. Because I think that, like I said, that's going to keep on harping on this. Their offense is going to face some challenges just like our offense. And, a Ben Johnson offense in these conditions it could struggle. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see. And one last point on Caleb. The magic is, of course, like I said, breaking away, creating a play out of nothing, et cetera, et cetera. But he does have a tendency to miss the layup sometimes. He's got such a laser beam arm. It's incredible that he'll whiff. He'll whiff on a layup, an out route, an in route, a flat, a route to the flats, something short. It'll happen. And how do you get to that? Is keeping him in the pocket so he is more likely to whiff on those type of throws than him making a fourth and miracle throw like he does every other week, which is crazy, right? The layups, not so much. Miracle throws are way more common, and that's where we'll get screwed. So I just want to say that before we move on, Mark, that containing him in the pocket is key. Now, if he kills us, he kills us, but we'll die by that than him running around making superhero plays. But oof, gonna be a tough
Well,
one. Gonna be a
yeah,
tough match,
we
Mark.
we just outscore them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Problem solved.
That's it. That's the name of the game. Who has more points, right? So let's get into that. How about the Bears defense that we'll be facing, everyone? Let's pull up their roster and who they got going there. Now, they run a 4-3 defense, everyone. That is different than our 3-4 defense, excuse me, where they have two traditional D tackles, two traditional defensive ends that are all in 3-point stances. You know, our guys, we have more linemen on the field and outside linebackers. And then they have three standing up linebackers behind those four D linemen. So different scheme, different philosophy. Dennis Allen, who was the head coach of the Saints, was D coordinator of the Saints, who has also, had other stops, Raiders, et cetera, et cetera. That's his philosophy. That's what, Ben Johnson and the Bears like. That's what Ben Johnson is used to with his Lions days, even his Miami days. So who do they got out there? They have Montez Sweat, 10 sacks, former Pro Bowl man with Washington. You got Grady Jarrett, who's been a Pro Bowler once upon a time. You got Javon Dexter Sr., who has been a productive player for them. You got the young defensive end Austin Booker, who a lot of Bears fans like and who has played good football for them. Then you got Tremaine Edmonds at linebacker, who's been a Pro Bowler. He's playing good for them. Then, of course, TJ Edwards is now on IR. He, blew out his knee, right, Mark? This past game wasn't a knee injury. I'm blanking on that for whatever reason against the Packers. He's done. So you're going to get Amin, and his last name I always butcher. He's questionable. So do you get a third string linebacker in for them? We'll see what happens throughout the week. You got DeMarco Jackson filling in at the other linebacker spot. Jalen Johnson, the former Pro Bowl man who's been awesome. I mean, he was coming back from injury. He hasn't played up to his standard, in my opinion, watching his film this season. But, hey, he's got it in him. Jaquan Brisker, who's a good safety for them and has made plays. Kevin Byard, right? We talked about earlier the resurgence from Tennessee now to here. He's been an all-pro guy, was voted an all-pro guy again this season. Then you got Kyler Gordon and, of course, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He had a concussion. We'll see if he plays. He's, been a great player for Philly, been a great player for the Lions, and now he ends up here after, getting his way out of Houston earlier this season. So you look at the defense, Mark, player by player, you look at it and you say, look at the names. You're like, this should be a good defense. But for how they performed, doesn't match the names on the back of the jersey, which is kind of puzzling though, right, Mark?
Yeah, you're right. Austin Booker, he was making some plays against the Packers. Grady Jarrett, he's a big beast in the run game. We all know about Montez Sweat, Jalen Johnson. He's been around forever. Yeah, you would think C.J. Gardner-Johnson, guy's got some playoff experience, as you just noted. So yeah, it's just has. Oh, they got Daniel Hardy too. He's the ex-Ram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is surprising, but yeah, there's going to be some. It's going to end up being a really high scoring game for as cold as it's going to be.
Yeah, and here's some fun stats for them, for the Bears defense, everyone. Points per game. The Bears defense is ranked 23rd, giving up 24.4 per game. The Bears defense is ranked 29th in yards per game, giving up 361.8. So they're nearing the bottom there. Crazy. Rushing, they're ranked 27th with 134.5 given up per game. Passing, they're ranked 22nd, giving up 227.2 through the air per game. Red zone percentage, much better than based on everything else. On the upper echelon, maybe not top 10, but they're ranked 15th. Giving up a touchdown only 56.14% of the time, so they get much better when it's shorter field. Sacks, only 35 on the season, 22nd in the league. Obviously, Montez has 10 of them, which is, a majority of them right there. And then this is the big boy stat, Mark. They lead the league in takeaways. They are ranked number 1 with 33 takeaways, interceptions, forced fumbles, recovering them, et cetera, strip sacks. So you get my point. So a lot of people push on this Bears defense, forcing big plays, and they get them. But with that, Bears have found themselves in opportunistic situations and taking away the football at the same time because they give up stuff, but because opposing offenses are attacking them so much, there's opportunities for them to make plays and get those takeaways, and they get them, man, which is crazy.
Yeah, but you look at it this way. Again, I'm going to try to put a positive spin on it from a Rams perspective, as I like to do. I This is how I feel about takeaways and turnovers. They don't turn the ball over; they take away the ball a lot, and a lot of that, that well can run dry sometimes. And how are they going to perform in a game like this if they're at -1, -2 in turnover differential? So, there's that aspect of it. The one thing that does concern me in a game like this, where field goals will be pretty dicey, they're decent in the red zone. That's when they're not relative to all the other stats. That's one thing they do okay. So hopefully we don't have to. Hopefully we can finish drives in the red zone and not resort to field goals in those conditions. That will not be a good thing.
Yeah, that won't be a good thing at all. But I mean, hey, man, this Bears defense could be got a
Yeah.
lot. So we'll move into this then, Mark. I mean, what are your keys to victory for the Rams offense to be successful against this Bears defense?
I think there's two players that, well, number one, let me start by saying Alaric Jackson has been playing so good,
Yeah.
and he's going to be a neutralizer. I think he'll be lined up with Booker in most cases.
Mhm.
The pass protection has been spectacular. But the two players that I think are going to have to step up are Puka, obviously. But I just like the idea of getting the ball to Puka on short passes, whatever it takes, get him the ball and let him just punish defenders in these conditions. I think it'll be people won't want to tackle him after a little while. And the other guy, of course, Kyron. He played at Notre Dame. He's got a little cold weather experience, likely, and him and Blake, but more Kyron. Let it loose, man. You can look at that yardage, the rushing yardage that they're giving up on this defense. So, you're worried about the passing game. Okay. Well, our run game's pretty darn good. And again, it's another case in point where, it's not your typical Bears offense, Bears defense against a SoCal offense, SoCal defense. Their offense is similar to ours, and our defense might be a little bit better than theirs, especially against the run. So I like our chances in the run game and just getting the ball to Puka.
Look at anything to get the ball to number 12 makes sense in my mind, everyone. So again, this Bears defense has got issues. You look at the players on their roster, you think, how is that possible? But this Dennis Allen 4-3 scheme that they're doing, which is a lot more cover 2, cover 3 base, right? Not super, super, super complicated like other defenses could be in the NFL. But they do a lot of different stuff, of course. But the Rams seem to have good success against this version of the 4-3 defense, not the old Seattle 3 you might hear, which is what the Niners do, Houston does, obviously Seahawks when Carroll was there. And that version, which is a lot more cover 3 dependent, Dennis Allen aren't necessarily that style of 4-3. So Sean McVay's had success against, again, this version of a 4-3 defense that Dennis Allen runs. And I think that bodes well for us. So my keys to victory are they got to establish the run game. And especially if it's cold, the Bears give up tons on the ground. They get gashed. Have they been better? Obviously, with the playoffs, they're going to play tougher. Of course, of course, of course. And I'm not asking for Kyron and Blake to be getting 10 yards a carry. Would be great. But 4 or 5, be confident in it, Sean. Be willing to run the ball more evenly with the passing game. And I mean that saying, let's not go to the McVay special, the McPass special, Farbode, we'll call it, which is a great name too. Let's not get into that type of game, man, because in the cold, I have no negative thought in my mind that Matthew Stafford's not going to be able to throw laser beams in the cold. He's got an all-time arm. I don't think that's going to be an issue where it's like, oh, he can't, whip it through. Like I know Tom Brady was talking about Brock Purdy, right? This last wild card where he explained, like, hey, he's got to change the mechanics. He maybe doesn't have a strong arm in general, so he's really got to get the ball down there. And Matthew's going to have none of those issues. My worry is the receivers, the pass catchers. Are we going to see if this is a wet, cold game or a snow game or just cold in general, which is going to be? Do we see some uncharacteristic drops because the ball is like a brick in the air? Do we see, Nakua drop a pass usually would grab? Do we see Devontae, right? I think good evidence for this being the case is the Seattle game on Thursday night earlier in the year. Colby Parkinson was really awesome all the weeks prior to that, and obviously he was really good this last game. But in that wet game, he dropped passes he usually makes. Wasn't going to be easy catches, but it hit him in the hands. Couldn't bring it. Couldn't bring it in. Are we going to see that from Kanate in a big spot? Are we going to see that from Xavier in a big spot or any of the tight ends, receivers? That's my concern, which is why I say let's get a run game going because Stafford's going to deliver it. But when the ball is like a brick in the cold Chicago wind, are guys going to drop a pass that they would grab? That's my worry with the McVay special, the McPass special, probably showing its face too often. I think the balance is the key, Mark. And I think if they get the balance, then the whole playbook's open and we'll score on them. And if they don't get in their own way, like they seem to do every once in a while, like dumbass offsides penalties from receivers lined up wrong, Devontae jumping, or linemen legal formation, holdings, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that'll be the case now that we know Kevin Dotson is likely to play and everyone will be full force on offense. I just think that's the main thing. Be balanced. Sean, do not get into a shootout when the ball is going to be like a brick. Of course, if the Bears earn the right to make us throw it all the time, then make them. But let's not abandon the run when Kyron and Blake is averaging 4 or 5 yards per carry and we're just throwing it just the hell of it. That'll be irritating. That is, in my opinion, a losing formula for the Bears, for this Bears matchup in cold-ass weather. So we'll see what happens. But the balanced run game is key because I think Stafford will deliver, and then everything will be open and we'll be full system ahead, Mark. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah, and Kevin Dotson coming back, man, that is such a big deal for this run game. I mean, shout out to Justin Dedich, who's played admirably, man. Rams have done such a good job of stockpiling, guys that can step in along the offensive line. But we're going to have our 5 best offensive linemen to go for this game. Not mean to throw shade on Rob Havenstein, but Warren McClendon has been playing really well. And that's going to be big. Kevin Dotson, like I say, man, he should be in the Pro Bowl, and he's coming back. So, man, that's a really big deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, there you have it, everyone. One more time for the Bears defense. You can look at the players, look at the stats, and me and Mark, I'm sure you agree too, Bears fans out there, if you're tuning in, and Rams fans, that the Rams don't get in their own way. They'll score plenty of points on them, but you never know. You never know. If they get in their own way a ton, then things get wacky and Rams fans are panicking Sunday night. But I think if they stay on schedule, no dumb things that get in their way, be balanced, I think they'll perform well, even if it is cold, Mark. But, we'll see, right?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's we just have to hope that they show up. It's all about being in the right mental state, have the right mindset. Just go out there. It's going to be cold. 3 hours. It's a business trip. Let's kick some butt. Take some hot showers and then enjoy a trip to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and you know who needs to be in the mental positive space? Our special teams coordinator, Katwika, and the whole special teams unit as a whole, everyone, because we'll pull up the Bears specialists. Don't think we forgot about them, everyone. They got a good group. Carlos Santos is a good kicker for them. Torrey Taylor, a good punter for them. And then they got Devin Duvernay returning kicks, both punt and kick return. If you remember him, everyone, he was a Pro Bowl All Pro man when he smoked us in that overtime game against the Baltimore Ravens a couple years ago. So they got a deadly, deadly returner back there for them. And that's a concern of mine. So, I mean, Mark, a good special teams group. Now, always saying how many kicks are going to be kicked correctly. That might be a factor we'll win. How many field goal attempts and PATs are going to be on point. Obviously, that'll be a factor for both squads. And I mean, with Devin Duvernay back there, everyone, I am scared to death of any returner we're facing that's been a Pro Bowl or an All Pro before, because these guys get us on Ram special teams. So, I mean, quick little key to victory for you on that.
Yeah,
On special teams.
I think punts will be adventurous. They'll be adventurous getting the ball out, the snapping, getting the ball out, and catching punts. That's probably, if you think about it, that's going to be really dicey. I mean, yeah. And by the way, that Duvernay return, there was a block in the back on that. Let's not forget that. So, but yeah, they're a good unit though.
They're a good unit. And I guess my quick keys to victory for special teams is, my God, Ethan Evans, kick it away from that man and or kick it high up in the air. And it'll be tough with it being cold. The air will be more dense. The ball will be tougher for it to travel. I get all that. We got to try our best, man. Got to try our best, because out of all the returners that are left in this playoff, he's one of the most deadly. And of course, we're facing him this week. And when it comes to the operation of punting the ball away and kicking successful PATs and field goals, I mean, my God, everyone, hold on to your damn blocks on special teams. Like Tanny
Yeah.
Ingle whiffing, right? The wedge of the wall being broken in on. I get it. It's going to be cold. Colliding bodies is going to suck, but they got to hold their own, man. All we need to happen for things to get stupidly wacky is another block punt, another block kick, a missed tackle on Duvernay. It's like, everyone, do your damn job and hold up. It's gonna be tough, I know, in the cold, but
Yeah.
that's my key, man. Everyone, just do your damn job, please.
Yeah, I think we just have to reconcile as Ram fans that we're probably going to lose the special teams battle. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of the
I
magnitude.
know.
And for Bear fans jumping in, yeah, our special teams generally are not very good, have not been good. But we just need to, no splash plays. Don't allow any splash plays. No major breakdowns. We'll have our 6 yard punt returns. We'll have our 37 yard kick that goes through the uprights, and
Yeah,
and that's about the best we can hope for.
it's true. It's true, and that's what we all have to keep our fingers crossed about, right, everyone? But real quick, Mark, I mean, the head-to-head stats, right? If you want to pause here on YouTube, everyone, you can compare the Bears offense to the Bears, or excuse me, the Bears offense to Rams defense, excuse me, Rams offense to Bears defense, and how they shape up in totality of the regular season, of course, and where they rank. And one of my new favorites, though, Mark, that I've been really enjoying the advanced stats on, or the DVOA. And for anyone out there that's confused on what that is, I'll pull up this picture here real quick again, as we covered it last week. The ultra short version is DVOA measures a team's efficiency by comparing success on every single type of play to a league average, again, based on situation and the opponent. So it's not just like PFF that's looking at a player kind of doing the same thing, but it could get very subjective where, there's PFF grades. I'm like, you know what? He had a good game. Why is he getting a 70? He was fantastic. That don't make sense to me. I think DVOA is a lot more objective, Mark, in my opinion. So as we pull up here, everyone, this is a season DVOA for the Rams. If you saw last game preview episode, you'll have an idea. Rams will be the same, of course. But the Bears DVOA on total offense is ranked 10th. Bears passing DVOA is ranked 7th. Rushing DVOA for the Bears on offense is ranked 5th. So, I mean, Mark, on the advanced stats, they're elite. And I think that tells a deeper story than just the basic, per game stats that we went through earlier.
Yeah, ours aren't too shabby.
Oh yeah, of
compares
course.
pretty well. Yeah.
But their elite offense, like we've talked about, and then the Bears' defensive DVOAs. Their total defensive DVOA is ranked 24th. Their passing defensive DVOA is ranked 24th as well. And their rushing DVOA for the Bears defense is ranked 28th. So again, to our keys, based on the advanced metrics, run that damn ball. And we should be successful being balanced, like you and I talked about earlier, right, Mark?
Yeah, and unfortunately, those defensive DVOA numbers, if we tilted it for the more recent, like last 7 or 8, 9 games,
Yeah.
would not be as pretty for the Rams. But maybe they can get back to that. Maybe Quentin Lake, dusting off the cobwebs, another game. He really is an impactful player,
Yeah.
and I don't think he had his best outing in his first game back. So
They did
between
not.
him, his second game back, and Kevin Dotson coming back on the offense, so we're getting two really important players back over the last 2 weeks.
So yeah, again, I know these DVOA rankings are for regular season, but that included a lot of those bad performances from the defense, and they were still, top six, fifth or
Yeah.
third in a lot of stuff. So that should give you optimism, and we'll see what happens on Sunday night, everyone. But I mean, here's some other stats for you on this. I mean, Mark, this is again, everyone. People may get pissy with these stats. We're just giving you the objective information here. McVay's Rams record is 11-14 all time and 1-2 in the playoffs when playing in these super cold or cold games, rain games, snow games. A losing record, regular season, playoffs, and obviously combined. And that's just the truth, Mark. They're going to have to, this McVay squad, this specific one, is going to have to overcome that.
Yeah, it's not a good stat, and if McVay's got to figure it out, he's got to maybe go back and look at those losses and see what he did that maybe he needs to do differently to come out on the winning side in these conditions. And I think maybe I need to go back and look and see what the run pass ratios were, those types of things. Were there a lot of turnovers? And yeah, some of those games were probably Jared Goff, who I don't think is an ideal quarterback for those types of
It's true.
conditions either. But yeah, it's got to get better. Got to get it turned around starting Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. I mean, they have to overcome this this issue. And again, they've won games, of course. Look at the stats. They don't have like 1 win, 2 wins or something like that. But when the competition gets tougher, when you're facing elite coaches and other elite players, like they're going to this Sunday, they gotta find a way to dig deep and overcome this issue. And I guess the biggest one is the 1-2. The one victory being 2020 Seattle Seahawks, where they won the division. We went up there. That was the D Will pick six on a screen. The Cam Akers had a great game on the ground. Jared got benched for Wolford. Wolford got concussed. Jared had to come back in with the thumb issue. And then he threw a touchdown to Robert Woods to seal it at the end. That was the only time they won one of those cold games in the playoffs. Then the very next game, they got hammered by the Green Bay Packers that same season. That was one loss. And then last season they lost against the Eagles in the snow game. So that's where that 1-2 in the playoffs comes from, everyone. So they're
Yeah,
gonna
and
overcome it this time.
yeah, I was going to say that that loss to Green Bay, if I remember correctly, cold weather game, and Devonte Adams had at least one touchdown against us.
Yeah, I mean they beat us, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, or was it Alan Lazard got a bomb on us? Everyone's like the number one defense is going to hold up. They didn't, and that was the last time Jared Goff was around, of course. So we'll see what happens in this cold situation, right, Mark? But another stat for you, everyone, is that the McVay Rams record all time in these primetime / standalone games is pretty solid. It's 30-23. But this season, they're 1-3. Or I guess I'll take that back. 2-3 now. Obviously, they won the wild card game against the Panthers. So this season, they've had issues in these standalone, I guess you could say, primetime games. The kind of munch, I'll put them together. and they got to overcome that. This specific Rams team has not performed their best in these primetime standalone games, too, Mark. And hopefully that's improves this Sunday as well. Again, we're just giving you the objective stats here, everyone. If you're mad, I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. We got to be real here.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll get it turned around for our Rams, and yeah, you're not making you're not giving me a warm fuzzy one moment. Another moment, you're making me feel great about this game.
And hey, we gave our opinions on this game earlier, but again, just wanted to funnel in some more stats to be objective about the situation in this matchup coming up on Sunday night, Mark. But again, gonna have to overcome it. The cold, the primetime record this season, not the best, but they can get it done 100%. We believe in the squad, man. We believe. I believe. But I mean, with that said, Mark, we got to get into some early score predictions. Yes, we know there's still many days to figure out who is exactly playing, who is not. And I think before we get fully into that, let's talk about it on the injury report, Mark. D. Will's having a baby. Congrats to you, Darius Williams, Super Bowl champion, as we hope that birth of his child went successfully. And then he'll be obviously be suited up for Sunday. Then Kevin Dotson talking to the media. He's practicing like he's going to be good to go with that ankle injury. Hasn't played since the Thursday night Seattle game as he got stomped on. And that was crappy. Good to see. Puna dealing with the elbow. He was limited. And then, hey, Stafford with the finger said, yep, I'm good to go. Don't worry about me. Shocker. Xavier Smith full with the wrist. Josh Wallace with his ankle. Seems like he's going to be full ready to go. I think getting him on the field in some capacity, maybe in like dime situations or quarter situations, would be nice to see. We'll see. Ferguson, big deal. How about our rookie tight end, right? Finally, he'll be back with his hamstring. And then Quinlan, of course, I'm sure he's just kind of banged up. He'll be good to go as well. And Jordan Whittington. So that's nice to see, Mark. It'll be all hands on deck other than Akella Witherspoon, unfortunately, and Rob Havenstein, of course, as well. But that's what you want for a big game like this. Everyone feeling
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Rams are amazingly healthy at this point in the season compared to some other teams. So, we really can't complain. No excuses. Just got to go in and figure it out once and for
Yep,
all.
got to figure it out. And then you look to the Bears side of things. Ryan McLeod didn't practice with a groin. DJ Moore limited with a knee. Odunze with his foot. Maybe the linebacker with his bang. CJ Garner Johnson had a concussion, but he's full go. Braxton Jones with a knee. Their other linebacker, Amen, again, his other name or his last name, I butcher all the time. Apologies. He had a concussion issue, was full. Their D lineman, Joe Tryon, or Tyrone, excuse me, or Tryon. I can't read right now. D lineman, he was full go with his concussion. So, I mean, other than the left tackle, Mark, the linebacker, they're going to be full systems go as well.
Yeah, and both of those could be a somewhat of a big deal. We can only hope. I know Bears
Yeah.
fans are really, really disappointed that the linebacker got hurt. He's an important
Edwards,
part of
yeah.
that defense. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but generally, both teams come in pretty. At this time of year, it's pretty crazy.
It is, man. It's a war of attrition outside of just playing good football and schemes and belief and mental. It's
Right.
crazy, man. It's a gladiator battle for sure, and we're gonna witness one on Sunday night. So there you go, everyone. There's the injury report that'll help funnel in our final thoughts on this early score prediction. Now we're gonna go with the assumption that it's not gonna be a blizzard with this. If it is, then you can probably notch down our scores by a handful, which would be fair. But I'll start with you, Mark. What's your early score prediction for this game? What do you think the Rams and Bears are going to throw up on that board there?
Yeah, I'm thinking there's going to be very few field goals, probably fewer field goal attempts. And before I give you my score, I wanted to tell you my special assistant was just texting me, and I don't know if you know the story. There's some no love lost between Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur
Yep.
based on some comments Ben Johnson made, and they've had you've seen the videos of their very curse handshakes. And someone at the press conference today asked McVay if he's talked to LaFleur. And if I'm reading between the lines, I think he has. And they're very, very close. So that's another thing that could help the Rams game planning at least a little bit. But my score prediction, I already gave it to you, right? What did I say? 28-20? I think
Yes.
that's what I'm going with.
That'd be great. Just win, please. And if it's by
That's
a possession, an 8-point game, we'll take it. If we hold this Bears offense to 20 points, what a big victory that would be in my eyes. And again, the Rams defense has it in them, but we just got to be honest. The last 7-8 weeks, they have not kept teams out of the end zone. It's been 28 points per game on average given up. Not good. So I hope this one is correct, Mark. I'd take that
well,
any
yeah,
time
I
of the
mean,
day.
the Packers were on track for better than that until that dang fourth quarter, right?
I know it's incredible, and they have good players themselves. But no Parsons, that made a big difference. And let's be real, their secondary is better than ours right now, so that has a lot to do with it. But oh well, I hope this one's right. But what is my score prediction, everyone? Again, with the assumption that it's not going to be some blizzard, I think regardless of how cold it is, I think this is going to be a barn burner. I do. Rams win 37-34. I don't think we're going to stop their offense objectively. I hit all those points earlier in this episode. And I think if our offense just stays out of its own way, we're going to score a lot of points on them. And at the end of the day, I have more faith in an MVP quarterback with an elite O-line, elite weapons, with maybe the game on the line. Do you believe in Stafford to get it done? I do. Do I believe that in a big moment, the Rams defense could get a crucial stop? I do. Do I think it's going to happen over and over again? I don't, but I hope it does. So I think we're going to get a barn burner. Again, if it's insanely cold, then you can obviously notch all our score predictions down by 10 points or so, which would make sense. But again, I'm going with the assumption that's going to be cold, no weird rain, sleet, snow. And I think we're getting a high scoring affair with two offenses that are elite, two offensive coordinators that are elite, play callers, of course, as well, as they are the coordinators. Two quarterbacks that are elite, come from behind guys. And I think, man, we're going to have a nail biter and it'll be a shootout. And if it's not the case, then let's win ugly. I have no problem with that. But that's my score prediction, everyone.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter, obviously, with the Bears. It always does. And if it does, you got a young gun, up and rising quarterback that's proven he has some magic in his back pocket. And on the other side, you got one of the most clutch quarterbacks in NFL history. So this could be a very, very memorable game. And hopefully we just come out on top.
I mean, based on all reports, one of the coldest playoff games ever. So this will be historic for many reasons outside of maybe the matchup itself. And remember, Caleb Williams looks up to Stafford. He said it in multiple interviews before starting the season that he's like, hey, Matthew Stafford's my guy who's playing better than him right now, and they're gonna be facing off. Does that boost his confidence in his play? Does that maybe notch it down a little bit? I guess we'll find out all those things. But at the end of the day, whether we're down late in the fourth or we're up late in the fourth, it's going to be about who finishes defense. Do they come through and stop a magical comeback from Caleb, which he's been doing all year? And if it's on the other side, flipped, does Matthew Stafford and the offense have another comeback victory for themselves? An all-time great quarterback with comeback victories. I think regardless of it's low scoring or high scoring, I think it's going to come down to that mark. And it'll be fun to see, man. The stress, the theater that this game is going to be. And anyone expecting an ass kicking, you're out of your damn mind, Rams or Bears fans. And
Yeah.
let's just sit back and enjoy. Try to, take the stress out of it and just enjoy the cinema we're probably going to see unfold in this all-time cold game that it's projected to be. I'm excited, and I'll try my best to not grow more gray.
Yeah, it's going to be another stressful Sunday afternoon, guaranteed.
It will. But, will we know the outcome of the winner of this game right before kickoff? Of course, we'll know the day before, depending on what happens with Seattle Niners, right? Does Niners pull up the upset and the winner hosts the NFC Championship game for our game? Maybe that's extra motivation for the Rams to get it done. Maybe it's more pressure. We'll see. Or do we know we're getting the rematch with Seattle if Rams win, of course, and that adds extra motivation to get to see them a third time. We'll have all that down. Players will know. Players will talk about it and say, no, we're not hearing all that. Give me a break. Everyone's keeping tabs on the playoff games. So hopefully that could be an extra layer of fuel too, Mark, depending on what happens in Seahawks Niners the day before.
Yeah, and I can tell you one thing for sure. Whoever wins that Seattle 49er game, they're going to be pulling for the Bears.
Yeah, I think that's objectively true. And Bears fans, if you're mad about that, look, do you think the Niners and Seahawks want to see the Rams in a division foe that they've already played 2 times before? Absolutely not. They'd rather see the Bears, who, Niners have seen. But, all the defensive issues we've talked about with the Bears, they don't want to see the Rams and an MVP quarterback. And, Caleb's good too. But, hey, all speculation, all hope and dreams. But we'll see on Sunday night, everyone. And we'll be here for our post-game reaction episode right after that Sunday night game. And look at guys, support the squad. Get together with friends and family. If you want to watch it solo and that's what's been working for you, great. There's tons of watch parties around the LA area as well. I'll be with SoCal Rams probably again because it's closer to my house to see a watch party there. I know World Tour Rams. I partied with them before. Good guys and gals hosting there. I don't know exactly where they'll be. And go on the Rams website, everyone. Excuse me, where it'll have the list of all the booster clubs of where those official watch parties are going to be. If you want to hang out with fellow Rams fans and enjoy the theater, the cinema of this playoff game with the Ramley, I'll do that. I know Mark will be doing that with his own family, Ramley, and do what you got to do to get some good Rams positive energy out there into the football universe. Right, Mark?
Oh, absolutely. And maybe show your support by if you're at home, don't get the fireplace going, okay? Don't wrap yourself up in a blanket. Let's show our support for our guys out there playing in 8 degrees. Try to make yourself as uncomfortable as possible, and I'll be doing scoreboard push-ups in our little beach room here, and hopefully it adds up to quite a few.
Yep. And wear a scuba suit like the players probably will, dealing with the cold down there, or whatever you got to do, right? But I mean, hey everyone, again, thanks for tuning in. Like the video if you enjoy our content here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our post-game reaction episode coming up. Saturday morning roundtable with Mark, Farbo with Scott. Anyone else Mark brings in. Great content, of course. And if you're on the audio only and or podcast only side of things, keep listening. We respect you guys as well, of course. And share it all with your fellow Rams fans. The Ramley helps others see our content. But I'm excited, Mark. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, just let the games begin. I got a few days to chill before we start stressing out for 3 hours once more. So enjoy your weekend until 3:30 Pacific time, anyways.
Yep. 3:30 Pacific. And if you got to call off work, do it. Just do it. But all right, everyone. You know what to do, man. Rep your blue and yellow, the Rams, royal and soul. And no matter where you are on planet Earth, you got to throw up the horns, baby. And you know what to say. Go Rams.